Yesterday I did try to appear for a new recording session for you, and unfortunately my system collapsed. That's the reason why I couldn't record my particular you can say I couldn't record my particular um, planning for which I had done to guide you through for my next sessions. Now after the I2C session that I had conducted, and I explained briefly, although not very detailed, but more or less, I guess people who would like to communicate with any I2C slave, that particular information or that particular class or lecture would be enough, or that particular session would be enough for you to communicate with any kind of a slave. I accept that I did not go into any kind of coding, although there has been some suggestions in my YouTube channel that I should go for coding, and I should introduce you to the how to write codes, so that you can actually materialize and visualize uh, how to interface the I2C slave with the kind of microcontroller that you're using. But unfortunately, having said that, I would also like to say that it's before writing any code or before going into any kind of software detailing, it's very important that you understand how the hardware works, and what is the actual the scenario inside the hardware. And also, another important point is the IDE that we call as the integrated development environment. So as you know that I am a perfect TI guy. I mean, I only go for Texas Instrument platforms because of various reasons. TI offers loads of informations. They have TI designs where they upload fully tested projects along with the Gerbers, the schematics, the circuit diagrams, and the PCBs and whatnot. I mean, anything that you need to jumpstart your project into a production stage. So that's not the only reason, of course. The other reasons being that you have a lot of API libraries, you have license-free libraries, there are royalty-free libraries. You can access e2e.ti.com, which is a very 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 helpful situation. Okay, just give me a break. I'll just come back. I have a phone call. I'll be back. Okay, so I'm very sorry, the phone call came in between. uh, so okay, uh, right, so that's the reason why I always prefer going for the Texas Instrument platform, because they have a plethora of API libraries, the royalty-free libraries, and they give you a lot of support in e2e.ti.com, where you can register and have direct conversation with the people out there who are, some of them are even proper TI employees, and they actually do they do seminars in various cities. Well, I stay in India, so I can tell about India. I don't know about other countries. In India, they do a lot of seminars in various cities in the month of November, December, where they do actual hands-on exercises. And I have not seen this happening with any other company. Well, I may be wrong, but at least I haven't seen. So that's the reason why I choose TI. And for TI, the only platform that I would prefer is CCS, that is Code Composer Studio. Code Composer Studio started off a long time back with version 1, 2, 3, 4 running up, and now they have come up to version 8, and version 8.0.0.0. That's the latest version that you can download from the internet. I'll show you from where you have to download it. So first what you do is you just go to Chrome browser, simple type download CCS8 8.0.0. So they will suggest you 8.0.0, and that's going to give you the link to the wiki. Now, one thing more I want to tell you about Texas Instrument is that, you know, they have a very good wiki. They have an excellent wiki, and if any of, whether you are buying a launchpad, you're buying a microcontroller, you're buying any kind of SoC, you're buying a simple analog product, a power product, or anything, a software package, um, I would say even an IDE. They have their own IDE called Energia. That is open sourced, and they have a wiki for each and every solution. Whether you are you know you are working with a TIVA, that's a ARM Cortex M4F processor, or whether you're working with a low power MSP430 processor, or you're working with the audio series, or you're working with anything, they have a wiki for everything, and you can search on the wiki will guide you through. They have very good this thing, PDFs which you can download, and they also have a plethora of this thing, um, this PPTs, that is presentations, which will guide you through the entire process. So let's now have a look how to download the CCS, that is a Code Composer Studio, which is the first very important thing that we need to start off or get started with our project. So here you find download CCS. Just go and have a click on that, and I I presume it'll take some time because my internet speed is a bit low. Pardon me for that. Now, once this page opens, you'll find there are two type of installers. One is the online installer, and the other is the offline installer. The difference between the online installer and the offline installer is that, you know, for the online installer, you always get the latest downloads from the TI server, and I prefer going for the online installer. But if you are having a very slow connection, or if you do not have, you know, so much time to put the computer at a place and keep up with the downloading, so in that case I would rather suggest you go for the offline installer. Or even, you know, if you are a redistributable system administrator, or you need to install the CCS into many computers, then obviously the offline installer would be of helpful for you. And the other thing is that you can also have CCS for Linux as well as Mac. I have personally worked on Mac, but I would say that Mac is working on CCS on Mac is a bit painful. It is a bit painful because in Mac you have to do a lot of you have to do a lot of mm, modifications, and especially when you're installing things like TivaWare, MSP430 CC3200 SDKs, and when you are installing Simple Link, for example, if you're working on the BLE or the Bluetooth or the conventional Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi, or maybe the sub 1 gigahertz, then you need something called an RTOS or a TIOS. Um, and there's a very beautiful um, application OS that they have, that's called Simple Link. So even for Simple Link configuration, Mac in Mac, it's not difficult, it's not impossible, but it's a bit tedious. So that's all I can say. Well, this internet is making me go a bit crazy, I see. So I got to shift. Wait a second. Let me close my I don't know, I could try one thing. Just hold on, I'll just try to shift from my LAN to my hotspot, because I have a 4G internet and I guess that will be faster than my broadband right now, because my speed has been throttled because I've used all my 80 GB of data. So just hold on, I'll just have a I just disable my okay. So I am back with my hotspot. I guess this is a much better connection. It will give you a very good speed. So as you can see that here you can have the list of the CCS, and here is what I was talking about, the offline installer and the online installers. You can have for Mac OS. I guess it supports for the Mac they support um, the uh, the Sierra, the OS X High Sierra, and even the Sierra. For Linux they support Ubuntu, but the most important thing is that we will only consider Windows, because we will be working only with Windows. So for the Windows, I will obviously go for the offline installer. So once you click on the offline installer, the installation will begin. Right? I'll just click over here and I'll cancel the installation because I already have the file. I don't want to waste my data. It'll it'll give a window like that, and you can save it wherever you want. It's Remember one thing, it's only a 32-bit. It's not a 64-bit. So that's something you have to keep it in mind, right? So this is where you can get the actual file, which is over here. This is the one that you can see is the actual uh, this thing, the CCS file. So what you should do is just gonna extract it. Just have to extract it. So once you extract it, this file becomes this, right? It just becomes this. So you get the entire folder that is there inside the file, which is over here. So that is what has been extracted over here. So once you extract this, what you see is basically the file, the folder containing the installation files. So there are two things you have to keep in mind. One is the firewall preferably should be kept off, right? There's no harm in keeping it on, but I personally just suggest that firewalls should be kept off. And the other is the antivirus. The antivirus must be disabled. So like here I have not an antivirus, as you can see downstairs over here. If you can follow my mouse, here it is. So just right click on it and disable auto product for around 5 hours, say, or so, right? So you're done. If you want, you can just go through the readme. It will tell you the firewall may cause issues, and also so will the antivirus. So the firewall, I hope you know how to switch off the firewall. If you don't know, then it's very simple. I'll just show you. Go to control panel. Okay, just go to control panel and just go to Windows Firewall, right? And then turn firewalls on or off. Here it is turned on, I'll turn it off, and here also I'll turn it off. So you'll get an error message over here, but just don't bother. It's only temporary. As soon as you're done, you can turn your firewalls on. So now this is something that we have over here. What you're going to do is just right click on it and run it as administrator. That's it. Okay, so it's going to ask you some stupid questions that Windows always asks you, and then this thing you don't get in Linux because you are always the root. And so just let it go, let it happen, let it get it installed, It's going to take a hell lot of time, I guess. So uh, till CCS is getting installed, sit down, relax, and have fun. Okay, so now you see CCS basically checks the prerequisites that are required for the installation of your softwares. Now the problem with that is if you get if you get a warning for any of these kind of prerequisites, then the main important problem that you would face is that a failure or a crash in the installation, or maybe a compilation error when you are running a program. So it's best to comply with all the prerequisites. So now it's checking for the Windows updates, but all the rest is okay. So just I can't click on the continue because it will check for the Windows update. I'm sure it's going to give you some error that you need some kind of update, KB something something, but you don't need to bother much about that because Windows 7, all the updates you will not get. If you're installing, let me tell you one thing more, that if you're, I would prefer, I'm installing it in Windows 7, but I would prefer you installing this CCS8 in Windows 10, because Windows 10 has all the prerequisites and perfectly placed, so you won't have any kind of problem installing CCS in Windows 10. So it's better you install CCS in Windows 10. Okay, so until it keeps on checking, let me be back. Fine, so it has found that, I told you, it has found that there's some kind of Windows update is not there. That's KB 303330333929. Well, for KB 30333929, I have searched it. Your Windows 7 doesn't require this particular Windows update, so you don't need to bother. Just go and bang on continue. Okay, so now when you continue, there are terms and conditions that hardly anybody reads. If you want, you can read it or print it out. And then this is the place which is very, very important, C/TI, that is the installation folder where your entire thing will get installed. Now, you see, one thing you have to understand is that your Windows, your CCS can be of very versions. Like you can have CCS, like for example, me myself have CCS version 6, version 7, version 8. So you just can't specify C/TI, which is the default folder for installing CCS. So rather, I would suggest you go for this option, C/TI/CCS800 or 800, because it's better to keep CCS version 8 away from the other versions, right? So you select that C/TI/CCS800 and then click next. Now I will be doing only the MSP430 project with you right now. I know you can see a plethora of I mean you can you can you can you can do anything and everything with CCS. As you can see, it has MSP430 ultra low power MCUs. You can configure simple link MSP430, and let me tell you, MSP432, which is basically an with a low power MSP430, it does run an OS and RTOS inside that simple link, so it's for low power as well as performance applications. You can do with CC13XX and CC26XX. CC26XX is multi-standard as well as other wireless MCUs, that is CC2640, 30 and 50 is there. 50 is a multi-standard where you can have many wireless bands. So that also runs on simple link, and that also you can use simple link Wi-Fi CC32XX, that is CC3200, 3220, which they have recently, I think, come up with 3220. That also runs Simple-Link, and CC2538, which is also another wireless MCU, but the difference is that, you know, it works on the standard of IEEE 802.15.45, and it has a 8051 core inside. Next comes the C2000 real-time MCUs, which is very important for real-time applications, like for example your insta-spin motors or motor application, BLDC motor applications, servo applications, and anywhere where, you know, you cannot allow any kind of processing time lag. So C2000 is a family. TM4C, as I told you, it's an ARM Cortex M4F family. I personally work on TM4C very much. So it has Ethernet. It has an Ethernet connectivity and a plethora of lots of peripherals. So you just don't need to bother. So that's for that. Hercules is, again, it's an ARM Cortex series, ARM Cortex R series. It's called a safety MCUs because it has mission critical applications are mainly developed using Hercules MCUs. In fact, many of you, if you are from industrial engineering or instrumentation engineering, you must have heard of PLCs, that is programmable logic controllers, and many of these PLCs and DCSs, they are designed using Hercules, because Hercules has dual CPUs running inside, and in case one fails, the other takes over. So it basically gives you a redundancy. It's a hardware level hot redundancy. So for those kind of applications, Hercules is very important. Sitara is again an ARM Cortex A application, A15 or A9 application, that is ARM Cortex microprocessor, which runs on any kind of OS, you can say Linux, or it even supports Windows IoT, I guess, and obviously Android. So you get a very good AM335X this thing, Sitara development board from Texas Instruments. You can study, you can go ahead with that. That is AMX processors, that is 335X, 338X. They have the latest one, if I'm not wrong. The OMAP processors are ARM9 processors. They are, I'm not quite aware of them. The DaVinci video processors, they are very important for any kind of DLP and other video processing. You need the DaVinci processors, OMAP processors, C55X ultra low power DSPs. You can have DSPs over here. You have a lot of applications where you use DSPs. So even DSPs can be configured through Code Composer Studio. Then you have C6000 power optimized DSP. So you know you have a family of DSPs as well. One thing I left behind is that TDAX, driver assistant SoCs, and Jacinto DRX infotainment SoCs. These are very specific application specific area processors. I don't have much knowledge into them, so you got to find it out in the e2e.ti.com forum. Wave sensors, they are very useful. They are sensor configurators, and also you have other digital power control as UCD for various power applications, and the PGA sensor signal conditioners. So now we will only go for MSP430, right? We don't need anything else right now. Later on, as we proceed, we will go on, because I'll go for the Simple-Link. I will go for the Simple-Link CC, this one. Uh, After this, I'll go for 32XX. Then I will go for 13XX and 26XX, and then I will go for TM4C12X ARM Cortex M4F series, and finally I will go for Sitara, where you can basically, you know, design your own operating system. It's a real-time operating system based device. It's basically a single board computer like a Raspberry Pi or a BeagleBone. In fact, a BeagleBone, you must have heard of BeagleBone Black. It runs on Sitara. So as of now, let's cancel all these things and proceed only with MSP430. And here you can just say finish. It will take some sweet time to install. Just give me a break for some time. I need some break. I need some water. Okay, just you can have a look at the various components that is getting installed, although I don't know whether it will make a lot of sense to you, but you can just have a look. Hello. Okay, I'm just pausing the video because it makes no sense. It's just, using the data. I can't be uploading so high volume of data to YouTube. So once it comes towards the end, I will again restart the recording, right? Because I don't have much to explain right now. Let it finish and then I'll again carry, right?